Harley Davidson, Yamaha, Honda, Ducati, BMW, Kawasaki, Suzuki, KTM, Triumph, Indian, 10 brands. Over 1,000 years of combined history, and every single one of them has a completely different personality. Today we're breaking down all 10 major motorcycle brands, their real histories. What actually makes them different, and which one matches the kind of rider you are. If you're new to motorcycles, or just want to know why your buddy won't shut up about his Ducati, this is the video. Let's start with the brand that's basically synonymous with the word motorcycle in America. Harley Davidson was founded in 1903 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and the origin story is almost too perfect. 4 guys, a tiny 10 by 15 foot backyard shed, and a dream to strap an engine to a bicycle. William Harley was a draftsman. The 3 Davidson brothers were pattern makers. Their very first motorcycle was sold to a friend named Henry Meyer for $200. By 1920, Harley had become the largest motorcycle manufacturer in the world, with over 28,000 bikes sold and dealerships in 67 countries. They supplied roughly 90,000 WLA military motorcycles during World War II and earned multiple Army-Navy awards for wartime production. The Harley V-twin has been the backbone of the brand since 1909, and that signature 45-degree engine layout creates the legendary potato, potato, potato idle sound. Harley actually spent 6 years trying to trademark that exhaust note before giving up after 9 competitors filed legal challenges. Now, a lot of people roast Harleys for being slow, and honestly, they kind of are. The quarter mile isn't really the point. Harley is about the sound, the culture, and the feeling of cruising down an open highway on a fat boy while pretending you're in a biker gang even though you're headed to brunch. Their most iconic models include the Sportster, the Electra Glide, the Street Glide, and the fat boy that Arnold Schwarzenegger rode in Terminator 2. Oh, and they tried to go electric with the live wire. How did that go? Well, they spun it off as a separate company valued at $1.77 billion, and then it sold about 600 bikes in all of 2024. The entire US electric motorcycle market is under 1,000 units. So yeah, not exactly a revolution on 2 wheels. Now, if Harley is the loudest name in American motorcycles, there is actually an older one that most people forget. Indian Motorcycle was founded in 1901 in Springfield, Massachusetts, making it America's first motorcycle company, 2 years before Harley even existed. George Hendy and Oscar Hedstrom built their first prototype on May 25, 1901, and by 1913, Indian was producing 32,000 bikes a year, dominating the racing world. In 1911, Indian riders swept 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place at the Isle of Man TT. That is like winning the Super Bowl, the World Series, and the Champions League in the same week. Indian also gave us one of the greatest motorcycle stories ever told. A New Zealander named Burt Munro bought a 1920 Indian Scout for 120 pounds and spent decades hand-modifying it in his garage, carving connecting rods from Ford truck axles and melting gas pipes to cast his own pistons. In 1967, at age 68, he took that hand-built machine to the Bonneville Salt Flats and set the under 1,000 cubic centimeters land speed record at 184 miles per hour. That record still stands today because the category was retired. They literally had to stop keeping score. The original Indian died in 1953, went through multiple failed revival attempts, and was finally resurrected when Polaris Industries acquired the brand in 2011. Modern Indians with engines like the Thunderstroke and the Power Plus go head-to-head with Harley in every way. And in a massive recent move, Polaris sold the majority stake to private equity firm Carolwood in early 2026, making Indian a standalone company again. They are celebrating their 125th anniversary this year. All right, from American muscle to Japanese precision. And when it comes to Japan, you have to start with the biggest one. Honda is the world's largest motorcycle manufacturer, and the numbers are honestly absurd. They sell roughly 19.6 million motorcycles every single year. Their Super Cub, launched in 1958, has sold over 100 million units, making it the most produced motor vehicle in human history. Not motorcycle, vehicle. More Super Cubs exist than Ford F-150s, Volkswagen Beetles, or Toyota Corollas. The original design brief required it to be operable with one hand so riders could carry a tray of soba noodles. And no, I am not making that up. Honda was founded by Soichiro Honda in 1946 in Hamamatsu, Japan. He was a school dropout who started by bolting surplus military engines onto bicycles. By 1959, Honda was already the world's biggest motorcycle maker, and it entered the Isle of Man TT for the first time. In 1966, Honda did something nobody has done before or since. They won Constructors' Championships in all 5 Grand Prix solo classes in the same year, 5 out of 5. Their racing record includes over 800 Grand Prix victories, the most of any manufacturer ever. Honda makes everything. Sport bikes like the CBR600RR Fireblade, touring machines like the Goldwing, adventure bikes like the Africa Twin, and the Grom, which is basically a motorcycle that makes everyone smile. If you want something that starts every time, runs forever, and might survive the actual apocalypse, Honda is your brand. Now, speaking of Japanese brands from Hamamatsu, yes, Honda, Yamaha, and Suzuki all come from the same city. And Yamaha might be the most interesting of the 3. Yamaha started as a piano company. Seriously, Torakusu Yamaha founded the original Yamaha Corporation in 1887 to build reed organs. They made pianos, grand pianos, and then during World War II, they built airplane propellers. After the war, the company president Junichi Kawakami looked at all the metalworking equipment sitting around and basically said, you know what? Let's make motorcycles. Their first bike, the YA1 in 1955, was copied from a German DKW design and nicknamed the Red Dragonfly. It won a major race in Japan in its debut year. Today, Yamaha Motor is actually a separate company from Yamaha Corporation, the music side. They share the tuning fork logo, but the motor company's forks are red and extend outside the circle, while the music companies are purple and stay inside. And Yamaha Motor doesn't just make bikes. They make marine outboard engines, swimming pools, industrial robots, golf carts, and they even designed the V10 engine that powers the Lexus LFA supercar. On 2 wheels, Yamaha gave us the legendary R1, the MT-09, the versatile Tenere 700, and one of the greatest racing partnerships ever. Valentino Rossi won 4 MotoGP World Championships on Yamaha machinery between 2004 and 2009. Their cross-plane crankshaft technology, borrowed from MotoGP, gives the R1 its distinctive uneven exhaust note and incredibly smooth throttle response. If you're finding this video helpful, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I cover motorcycle content regularly, and there's a lot more coming. All right, so we've covered Honda and Yamaha. Next up is a brand that builds bullet trains, New York City subway cars, helicopters, and industrial robots. Oh, and also motorcycles. Kawasaki Heavy Industries was founded in 1878 as a shipyard in Tokyo by Shozo Kawasaki. And fun fact, the company is named after the founder, not the city. They did not start making motorcycle engines until 1953, and their first complete Kawasaki-branded bike came out in 1961. Throughout the 60s, Kawasaki established a reputation for absolutely unhinged power. The 1969 H1 Mach 3 was a 500 cubic centimeters 2-stroke triple that scared the living daylights out of everyone who rode it. They called it the Widowmaker for a reason. Then came the Z1 in 1972, codenamed New York Steak, because they wanted it to be mouth-watering. It was a 903 cubic centimeters 4-cylinder that one-upped Honda's legendary CB750. And in 1984, the GPZ900R became the first Ninja, the first production bike to crack 150 miles per hour, and the bike Tom Cruise rode in Top Gun. Kawasaki actually refused to give one away for the movie, so the production company just bought one. The crown jewel of Kawasaki engineering is the Ninja H2R. It has a supercharged engine designed across 3 different divisions of the company, including their aerospace and gas turbine departments. The supercharger's impeller spins at 130,000 revolutions per minute, and the bike makes 322 horsepower. That makes it the most powerful production motorcycle ever built. In World Superbike, Jonathan Rea won 6 consecutive championships from 2015 to 2020 on the Kawasaki ZX-10R, logging over 100 race wins. That's the most dominant rider-manufacturer partnership in the series history. Now, from Kawasaki's madness to something a bit more underappreciated, Suzuki is like the middle child of Japanese motorcycle brands. Suzuki was founded in 1909 in Hamamatsu as a weaving loom company by Michio Suzuki. They did not build their first motorized vehicle until 1952, and they did not really hit their stride in motorcycles until the 1960s. Suzuki's first world championship in 1962 came because an East German motorcycle engineer named Ernst Degner literally defected during a Grand Prix race, escaped to the West, and brought secret two-stroke engine technology from MZ to Suzuki. Cold War espionage directly shaped the motorcycle industry. In 1985, Suzuki launched the GSX R750, widely considered the original modern race replica sport bike. And then in 1999, they dropped the Hayabusa. The name means peregrine falcon in Japanese, and Suzuki chose it on purpose because peregrine falcons prey on blackbirds, which was a direct shot at Honda's CBR600RR Super Blackbird, the then fastest production bike. The Hayabusa hit 194 miles per hour and became the first production motorcycle to exceed 300 kilometers per hour. It was so fast that European regulators started talking about banning sport bikes entirely. That forced the Japanese and European manufacturers into an informal gentleman's agreement around 2000, capping production bikes at 186 miles per hour. That speed limit still exists today. Suzuki also has 7 Premier Class Grand Prix titles to its name, including Joan Mir's Surprise Championship in 2020. And then, in 2022, Suzuki walked away from MotoGP permanently. Just like that. They still build great bikes though. The GSX R1000 and the third generation Hayabusa are both still in production. Now let's cross over to Europe. And we're starting with passion, drama, and engines that do not use valve springs. Ducati was founded on July 4th, 1926 in Bologna, Italy, but not as a motorcycle company. The Ducati family originally made radios, vacuum tubes, cameras, electric shavers, and even optical equipment. They were Bologna's largest employer, with over 3,000 workers. Then on October 12, 1944, Allied B-24 bombers flattened the factory. After the war, Ducati started over with a tiny 48 cubic centimeters clip-on bicycle engine called the Cucciolo, named for the Italian word for puppy because it sounded like a yapping dog. Over 200,000 of those little engines sold. The man who defined Ducati's engineering soul was Fabio Taglioni, hired as chief designer in 1954. He introduced desmodromic valves to Ducati in 1956. In a normal engine, springs push the valves closed. In a desmodromic engine, a second set of cam lobes and rocker arms mechanically forces the valves closed, eliminating springs entirely. This prevents valve float at extreme revolutions per minute and is the reason Ducati 5.4s can rev to 16,500 revolutions per minute. Ducati did not invent the concept. Mercedes used it in 1954 Formula One. But Ducati is the only manufacturer that has used Desmo valves continuously for nearly 70 years. Ducati is the most successful manufacturer in world superbike history, with over 400 race victories, more than double anyone else. They also have 4 MotoGP Riders' Championships. And here is a fun detail about the iconic Monster. Designer Miguel Galuzzi built it from leftover parts, a 900 SS engine, an 851 frame, and 750 SS forks. When he showed the prototype to executives, someone asked if he was bringing the rest of the motorcycle later. Today, Ducati is owned by Volkswagen Group through Lamborghini and Audi, pulling in over 1 billion euros in revenue for 3 years straight. The Panigale V4, the Multistrada, the Scrambler, and yes, the Monster are all still going strong. From Italian passion to German precision, BMW Motorrad has been building motorcycles since 1923, and their Boxer engine has been in continuous production for over 100 years. BMW started as an aircraft engine company in Munich in 1916. After the Treaty of Versailles banned them from making airplane engines, they pivoted to motorcycles. The very first BMW motorcycle, the R32, was designed by Max Friz in just 4 weeks and debuted at the Berlin Motor Show in September 1923. It introduced shaft drive and the horizontally opposed Boxer engine layout that BMW still uses today. Those flat cylinders sticking out both sides create natural balance, low vibration, and a low center of gravity. The R80 GS in 1980 literally saved BMW's motorcycle division. In 1979, the division director was told to either make the motorcycle business profitable or shut it down. The GS outsold its target by more than double and created an entirely new category, adventure touring, that now dominates the market. BMW won the Paris-Dakar Rally 6 times with GS bikes, and when Ewan McGregor used BMW R1150 GS Adventures for the Long Way Round documentary in 2004, it sent GS sales through the roof. Here is the kicker. KTM was originally supposed to supply the bikes for that show, but dropped the project at the last minute. That might be the most expensive marketing fumble in motorcycle history. BMW was also the first manufacturer to offer ABS on a motorcycle back in 1988, and their M1000RR Superbike now holds the outright Isle of Man TT lap record, set by Peter Hickman at 136 miles per hour. In 2024 and 2025, Toprak Razgatlioglu won back-to-back World Superbike Championships on the BMW M1000RR, giving BMW its first ever WSBK titles. From German engineering to Austrian insanity, KTM is the brand that dares you to ride harder, and right now it is in the middle of its own survival story. KTM started in 1934 in Mattighofen, Austria, as a metalworking and car repair shop run by Hans Trunkenpolz. They did not build their first motorcycle until the early 1950s. For decades, KTM was purely an off-road brand, and they dominated that space like nobody else. 21 Dakar Rally victories, including an insane streak of 18 consecutive wins from 2001 to 2019. Over 300 World Championship titles across all disciplines. Their motto, "Ready to race," is not just marketing, it is literally how they design every bike. In the 2000s and the 2010s, KTM expanded aggressively. They acquired Husqvarna from BMW in 2013 and GasGas in 2019, building a three-brand empire. They entered MotoGP in 2017, uniquely running a steel trellis frame where everyone else uses aluminum. The Duke and Adventure series brought them into the street market. Then on November 29, 2024, KTM AG filed for insolvency. Debts exceeded 1.8 billion euros. Overproduction, failed e-bike ventures creating massive inventory losses, and a global sales downturn all hit at once. Creditors accepted a restructuring plan in February 2025, and by November 2025, India's Bajaj Auto completed its acquisition of a controlling 75% stake. The parent company was literally renamed from Pure Mobility to Bajaj Mobility. Production restarted in March 2025, and somehow KTM still won both the 2025 and the 2026 Dakar rallies during the whole crisis. The bikes are fine, the accounting department not so much. And finally, the brand that proves you can come back from literally anything. Triumph was founded in 1884 in London by Siegfried Bettmann, a German immigrant who chose the name Triumph because he wanted something that worked in multiple languages and did not sound German. Their first motorcycle came in 1902, and through the early and mid-20th century, Triumph became the most iconic British motorcycle brand. Marlon Brando rode his personal Triumph Thunderbird in the Wild One. Steve McQueen jumped that famous fence in The Great Escape on a Triumph TR6 trophy, while his stuntman Bud Ekins made the jump, but still. By the 1970s and 80s, the British motorcycle industry was collapsing. In 1983, Triumph Engineering went into liquidation. A property developer named John Bloor, who originally came to buy the factory site for housing, instead purchased the entire Triumph name and manufacturing rights for £150,000. He spent 5 years and over $80 million of his own money building a completely new factory in Hinckley. The first new Triumphs rolled off the line in 1991, starting a true revival. Today, Triumph sells over 134,000 motorcycles a year and has been the exclusive engine supplier for Moto2 since 2019. Their 765 cubic centimeter triple immediately broke speed records and set over 34 lap records in its debut season. The Bonneville, the Speed Triple, the Tiger, and the massive Rocket 3, with its 2,458 cubic centimeter engine, the largest production motorcycle engine in the world, are all part of the current lineup. John Bloor's net worth as of 2025 sits at over £3 billion. Not bad for a 150,000-pound gamble. So there you have it, 10 brands, 10 completely different philosophies. Harley is the sound, Indian is the soul, Honda is reliability taken to an absurd extreme, Yamaha does everything and does it well. Kawasaki does not know the meaning of too much power. Suzuki is the underdog that occasionally breaks every speed record on the planet. Ducati will bankrupt you beautifully. BMW will take you anywhere with German precision. KTM will dare you to go faster. And Triumph came back from the dead just to prove everyone wrong. The real question is not which brand is best. It is which one matches who you are. Drop your pick in the comments. And if I missed anything or got something wrong, trust me, someone in the comments will let me know.